Good evening and welcome to this week in review. Tonight's stories include Canada Cord Banquet, gas prices gone up, the council report, these stories plus community events, the BBS Playbill, Off the Rack and more coming up after this.
Icebergs drift south. Humpbacks migrate to the north. This is the place where their paths cross. Where you can't see the icebergs for whales.
On Friday, January the 11th, we were invited to the Guiding Movement Canada Cord Banquet. 59 girls, their parents, guests, and guiders in the movement gathered at the community centre. The Burgeo Lioness, sponsored for the group, served the adults hot roast beef and hot dogs and fries to the girls with pie and ice cream for dessert. Patricia Sims, Pathfinder Guider, was MC for the evening and she welcomed everyone. Elsie Rose, Spark Guider, blessed the meal. Following the meal, Patricia Sims and Grace Marsden, the Pathfinder Guiders, enrolled their new Pathfinders. The girls lit their candle from the white candle which symbolized the worldwide sisterhood of guiding. Next, they recited their promise, and then their guiders pinned their enrollment pins on. Ms. Sims and Mrs. Marsden were quite excited with the event. For the past number of years, the Pathfinder enrollment has been 4 to 5 girls. Now they have a very healthy group of 13. The presentation of the Lady Baden Powell Awards were next. This is a new award that replaces the all-around cord. Each of the 6 girls had to do a short presentation on some of their best memories in the guiding movement. Kayla Krant, Sonia Anderson, Brittany McDonald, Alicia Vatcher, Christina Bungay, and Melissa Billard, all made mention of some of their camping experience and the wonderful leaders they had who helped them in some way or another. The Girl Guide leaders presented each girl with their pin, since most of the work was done while the girls were Girl Guides. Carrie Lynn Ann was the next speaker. This presentation is a requirement before you can receive your Canada Cord. Carrie Lynn also talked about her experiences in the movement and what the guiding movement meant to her. The Canada Cord is the highest award presented to a girl in the guiding movement. It is a very impressive award. It usually takes a girl 3 years to complete. This includes 3 years of camping, personal interest badges, community service, and many other badges and emblems. Next, the guiders add service stars for each girl. Service stars are given out each year to the girls for the number of years they have been involved in the movement. Commissioner for the movement, Elsie Rose, and Deputy Commissioner Linda Pink also had presentations. Junior Guider Kayla Lushman, Guide Guider Joyce Green were presented with the Whirl Pin. Guide Guider Joy Mead Barter and Brownie Guider Sandra Strickland were presented with guide pins. Brownie Guider Betty Bowdridge, Linda Pink, May Lushman, Rose Youngs, Guide Guider Liz Iscock, Alice Eyre, Ruby Penny, Pathfinder Guiders Grace Marsden, Patricia Sims, Spark Guiders Frida McDonald, Marie Rose, and Elsie Rose were presented with the Gold Thanks Pin. These pins may be given to a guider who has given good service to guiding. Commissioner Elsie Rose added up all these years the guiders have been with the movement, and the total came to over 160 years. Brown Guider Betty Bowdridge had the most with 30 years of service. Patricia Sims thanked the Lioness for serving the meal and congratulated everyone on receiving awards. We too congratulate everyone who received awards especially the girls who received the Lady Baden Powell pins and Carrie Lynn Han on receiving her Canada cord. On Tuesday of this week, the town manager informed us that gas prices had increased. In accordance with the provisions of the Petroleum Products Act, page 10, Chapter 1, Section 4, Newfoundland and Labrador, the following prices, petroleum prices, are issued. As of 8 a.m. on Monday, January the 15th, the maximum retail pump prices to be charged are as follows. Regular unleaded self-service is 73.1. Regular unleaded full service is 76.1. The home eating fuel are as follows. Furnace oil is 42.8 and stove oil is 47.3. The notice also stated that dealers may price at or below the listed prices in the specific zones, but may not exceed the listed prices stated. Now over to Mayor Ann with the council report.
Good evening. Burgeo Town Council report for Wednesday, January 16th, 2002. Council held its regular meeting. Items up for discussion were: one was the new town water system. The town manager advises that he has been in contact with the engineering firm and Brooks Enterprises, who is putting things in place, and will come down and visit us here in Burgeo. But the targeted dates is a startup date for April the 1st and a completion date of August the 10th. It is anticipated that very soon the tenders for Phase 2 will be called, and it is expected that both Phase 1 and Phase 2 will be completed by mid-November. Now, Council has had a verbal commitment that the tenders for Phase 2 will be called within the next month or so. However, to reinforce that, the town manager was requested to write a letter to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and ask him to put that in writing. So we're trying to keep this issue on the front burner as much as we can. The museum, the project which has been ongoing there, I don't know if any of you have been by there and had a look or not, but there's been quite an improvement made in the museum. It's also been, of course, we had to bring it up to so that it will be handicapped accessible. And the main thing, of course, is the murals. So we discussed it at council, and it appears as if the students at St. John Central I is quite willing to take on that project, and so beginning in probably April, May, when the weather warms up a little better, that they will be taking on that project. They will. We have asked them to supply council with some freehand drawings of what they anticipate they're going to do there. So we expect to have that within the next month or so, and hopefully we can see some big improvements there with the museum. I understand that there's still room for a member or two on that committee, so if someone is there and so inclined, I would really impress upon you that we'd like for you to come forward. Also, in that regard with the museum, as you probably know, it is called a memorial museum. Well, in Burgeo we have a memorial site, we have a memorial museum, we have a memorial library. Things are running pretty much on a memorial theme. So what we will be doing, and you'll see more on this in the coming days on Burgeo Broadcasting, we're soliciting a name for the museum. So if any of you out there has got some name that probably you feel would be appropriate for our museum, you know, something different than the Burgeo Museum, something that's innovative and so on, historical, or anything that you may think. So you will see more details on this on Burgeo Broadcasting in the weeks to come. And so if you've got a name, by all means submit it. Along with that, you may have taken notice that a new Welcome to Burgeo sign is being erected out on the highway. And so some more plans are in the works that we would have a painting done to welcome the people to Burgeo, and along with that painting, and the school is going to be involved in all of this, we are also hoping to have a nice sign painted for the library. You know, this is the reason we need the name at this time, and it's just a little bit more to spruce up our town. Regarding the fish plant, there was not much more to report. It's on the 23rd. There appears to be that there's going to be a meeting of Carino, Barry, the government, and from there the direction will be set in which way the government's got to go from there. So, you know, this is a wait-and-see thing, and see what's going to happen. There's nothing as yet to indicate that it won't come through. Watching what is unveiled in the last week to 10 days regarding Fishery Products International, and what the government is prepared to do to keep the towns of Harbour Breton, Fortune, and Marystown in operation, how far they're prepared to go with legislation there. I certainly don't see any problem in them bringing forward, if they have to, the legislation which Mr. Barry has requested in order to start a seal tannery in Burgeo. So that's something to look forward to within the next weeks. Regarding the water, our water samples, I'm sure you're all aware that we are off the boil order, but I'd just like to bring you up that there was water samples taken again on January the 15th. The town manager had a verbal report back. He didn't have a written one for the meeting on Wednesday night. And samples were taken from the same 6 areas that they've been taken from in the past, and everything looks satisfactory. So that's good to know that we're off the boil order, and a follow-up inspection is keeping us off the boil order. There's been some discussion in the past 2 meetings, really, regarding dilapidated property within the town. You know, some of the there's some property here which is starting to really get into dilapidated, and it's just a little bit longer. It will be getting into a dangerous situation whereby someone could get hurt around that property, especially children. Therefore, the town manager has been asked to go around and identify what properties he sees as starting to get in a dilapidated condition. A committee of council will then have a follow-up inspection of those properties. And no doubt council will start off with a request to the owners of those properties to ask them to improve upon them and to find out what their intentions are for the properties. And then we'll have to take it from there. If there's, if there's no follow-up, there's nothing, well then we'll have to go whichever way we've got to go to see that hazards around the town and dilapidated property is not permitted. Snow clearing of the highway and upkeep of the highway in town. That's the stretch of road from the ferry wharf on out to the Trans-Canada. Now, as you're well aware, the town has been keeping up that highway and clearing the snow from it and so on. So at our last meeting, the meeting that's prior to this one, the town manager gave us some history on what happened there and how the town came to take over the highway and so on. And so he was asked to follow up and see if we couldn't get some money for doing this. Now here's the situation that in 1983, the town of Burgeo used to receive a road grant of $43,200. Now in that road grant of $43,200, there was $15,200 allocated for the removal of snow and upkeep of that stretch of road from the ferry wharf on to the Trans-Canada. At the present time, Burgeo is only getting $10,800 as a road grant. So, you know, if you just look at that in perspective, when we were receiving $43,200 as a road grant, $15,000 was for that piece of road, which means approximately 1/3 of the road grant was for the upkeep of the Trans-Canada stretch of road. Now we're down to $10,800 in a road grant, which means that we're only receiving approximately $3,000 to maintain and plow snow on that same stretch of road. So you know, when you consider that you're getting $15,000 to do something in 1983, and you're only getting $3,000 in the year 2002, there's something wrong with that. I'm sure most of us can relate that we can't get as much for $1 today as we could in 1983. So given that, Mr. Parsons has been provided with all the history into how Burjo took over the road and what we were getting, and he's been asked to take that to Mr. Percy Barrett, the Minister of Highways, and we're going to try to see if we can't get some. Well, I think we should get at least $15,200, because we certainly shouldn't be getting paid less now for clearing snow than we were in the year 1983. So that's just something Council is working on to try improve our money situation. The rest stop up on the Trans-Canada, the meeting regarding that will be held this week, so we hope to hear something positive back from that. Regarding the school, I'm sure that most of you have been hearing things from the school and so on, and wondering when the school is going to start. I mean, this has been on the go for 5 years. Bill Ramsey was the member when it was announced, and still there have been no tenders called for the construction of the school. Therefore, Council, while not wanting to get directly involved with the education or the school, have decided that we would write a letter to the Minister of Education, and the letter will be along the lines of, we sometimes wonder, is there a reason for not calling the tenders? Would it be that the government feels that this town is going to just disappear and there won't be any need for a new school? So therefore, that's what will be the tone of the letter, which will be going to the Minister of Education and impressing upon him that we've got no intentions of going away yet, and therefore we'd like for them to get on with calling the tenders and constructing our new school. The Economic Development Officer gave a report to Council on the activities within the BDDB. I'm not going to go into that. I'm sure that Mr. Hilliard will be providing you with what's happening there. They're still quite active. The only thing I will bring you up to speed on, because the town has been involved in this as well, is regarding the government shed. That's supposed to go to court on January the 28th and 29th. So we'll see what happens, I guess, after the 29th. Council received a letter from Alliant or Newtel Mobility regarding cellular phone service to the area. The letter is at the town hall for anybody who would like to read it, but it's not very encouraging, I can tell you right up front, as far as getting full coverage of Route 480. They knew it wouldn't cover Route 480, made that quite clear, and when they turned up the stations at Ramia and Burjo, they didn't expect it to cover there, and the engineering staff is looking at it, but I must say it wasn't encouraging as far as I'm concerned, the letter which we got back with regard to getting full coverage of the Burjo Road. As you all know, Mr. Jerry Byrne has been appointed the Minister of State responsible for ACOA, and we have a new Minister of Fisheries and Oceans, Mr. Robert Thibault. It was agreed by Council that we would write letters to these two gentlemen, congratulate them on their appointments, and would extend invitations for both of them to accompany our MP to Burjo to be brought up to speed on what the moratorium has meant to this town, and because both of these departments, fisheries and ACOA, will certainly play a major role in reactivation of our fish plant or any fishing industry which we will need in this town, or any economic development. So, that will be going out this week, and hopefully that maybe sometime during the winter that we might receive a visit from Mr. Byrne and the new Minister of Fisheries, Mr. Thibault. That was it for the council meeting. There's a few things I'd like to pass on before I clue up this evening. One is regarding street lights. The town of Burgeo pays for street lights, and they pay to have the lights on. So if you're living in an area where there's a street light and you see that light is malfunctioning and not coming on, or coming on and going off, or so on, then by all means contact the town hall. Just phone Doug or Stan at the town office and identify the light and explain what's happening there, and that will be passed right on to Hydro to have it corrected. We don't pay for those lights so that they'll be off. They don't seem to be too concerned about lights that stay on. That have been reported several times, but apparently they don't bother that. But the town of Burgeo is not concerned about that either, because we don't pay any more whether the light is on or the light is off. But however, we do want them on when they're supposed to be on. So, you could be in an area and your light could be off and off for a long time if you don't call the town office to advise the office about it. Another thing is suggestions. If any person out there has got suggestions for the town council, ways which you feel that we can better serve the town, serve you, things which you feel would be nice if we had it in our town, not saying we would be able to do whatever you request, but by all means, just send it in to us, and we'll certainly have a look at it and see what we can do about it. And last but not least, I'll give you an update on the ducks. And we had another person volunteer, Mr. Eddie Rowlandson, came forward and volunteered to feed the ducks. So we've got 3 people confirmed. It seems as if there's another one who's thinking about it. So we've got enough people with regard as far as taking care of the ducks. Mr. Gordon Ingram of Foodland has supplied us with a large quantity of outdated bread and hamburger rolls, buns, and so on. And so we're quite thankful for that. And by the way, Gord, the ducks said for me to say thank you also. So that's it for this week. See you on the next report.
Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
There's puffins and petrels, kittiwakes and gulls, guillemots, merlins and murres, owls and osprey, hawks and razorbills, and you can see where the eagles have landed.
During the Christmas break, one of our viewers presented us with a calendar with elf tips for each month. The viewer suggested that during our news broadcast, we could use some of these tips. We thought it was a great idea. January's elf tip starts off with, get off to a elf-wise start. Take the opportunity that this new year presents to commit a healthier lifestyle. Some of the tips for January include, be smoke-free. Make this the year to quit smoking. Start by getting all the information and support needed to stop smoking. Get fit. Being fit makes you feel great, increases energy, and helps reduce the risk of many diseases. Achieve and maintain a healthy weight. A balanced diet and regular moderate physical activity are the key. Some of these tips fit quite well since January the 20th to the 26th is National Non-Smoking Week. Did you know that the Canadian Cancer Society has a self-help quit smoking program? The program is called One Step at a Time. One Step at a Time can help you understand why you smoke, find alternatives to smoking, and make a commitment to quit smoking. The Canadian Cancer Society has more information. You can call 1-866-545-9599 833 or visit their website at www.cancer.ca/tobacco. We have a treat for you tonight, a video of Terry Clark and her band as they perform on the Grand Ole Opry. Everyone is aware that Burgio's own Craig Young has been a member of this music group for some time and has played in many cities. On Sunday, January the 13th, the group appeared on the Grand Ole Opry. We think this is fantastic that a young man from our community is playing at the Grand Ole Opry. We are very proud that Craig Young has become a music star. We thank Joel Kosser for sharing this film footage with us, and we hope you enjoy it.
At the Grand Ole Opry. I first heard this young lady several years ago, before she had started recording, before her career took off. I heard her on the telephone. She dropped by my office and they put her on the phone. They called me, put her on the phone, and she started singing Rose-Colored Glasses to me on the phone, imitating me. She did me better than me. She did me real good, but she does her even better. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Miss Terry Clark?
Stay with us for Off the Rack, the community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this. Off the rack. This week as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of when the partridge was made the official hunting bird of Newfoundland. Here's some film footage of the partridge. Let's look back to January the 21st, 1996.
The province's two partridges, the willow ptarmigan and the rock ptarmigan, are native to the province and are widely distributed both on the island and in Labrador. Both birds have traditionally supported a strong hunting tradition. The partridge has played a very important role in the historic, cultural, and economic development of Newfoundland and Labrador, its native peoples and European settlers and their descendants. The quality of Newfoundland's partridge hunting has been extolled since the discovery of the province. In recent years, the ptarmigan population has been depressed for an unusually long period of time. The Wildlife Division of Dr. Gibbons' department has initiated several habitat management measures, and department officials have cooperated closely with the Partridge Forever Society in a variety of conservation efforts aimed at increasing the population.
Good evening and welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. I'm Jennifer Marks. The winner of the RBP TV Bingo was Mrs. Pearl Ingram. Congratulations, Mrs. Ingram. The A.J. Matthews have the next scheduled TV Bingo for Wednesday, January 23rd. There will be one game for $300. Cards are $1 each or 6 for $5 and are available from any student at the school and are in most stores around town. Please support A.J. Matthews School and play TV Bingo, and you could be the next winner of $300. The Guiding Movement will be selling Valentine balloons again this year. Order a balloon and surprise someone special in your life. Balloons cost $1 each and can be ordered from any girl or guider in the movement. Secret payouts can call Grace at 886-2117 or Marie at 886-2837 to order. The deadline to order is Friday, February 8th. Balloons will be delivered on Thursday, February 14th, weather permitting. If not, they will be delivered on Friday, February 15th. The grade 6 class will be having a beer bottle drive on Saturday, January 26th. All proceeds from this fundraiser will go towards the grade 6 annual Marble Mountain ski trip. Your support will be greatly appreciated. If your group or organization has an upcoming event planned, we will be happy to advertise it for you. Just call the BBS office by Wednesdays of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. See you next week.
BBS Playbill. Try your luck on Wednesday by playing A.J. Matthews School TV Bingo. Join Pansy and the gang for 2 stories, a craft, and lots of fun on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on Pansy's Garden. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.